Hello, FPL managers. Welcome to another episode of the FPL Optimized podcast. This is number 127. I am Bas, the casual manager, and my co host is Sertalp, the data scientist. This is the podcast in which we combine analytics with the good old eye test. Data or grass, or data and grass? That's the question. Only 2 more game weeks to go. Can you believe it? We all want to have a strong finish, of course, so hopefully our content can help you. Sertalp, how are you?
I'm good. Feeling good that the season is ending.
Yes.
So it was kind of like a painful season, especially like some parts. So like I'm looking forward to the like summer vacation a little bit.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah, I feel good. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Especially as it seems I won our head-to-head competition, so I'll probably be mentioning that a few times this episode.
Thanks for letting me
But
know. The first time I'm hearing about it.
oh yeah, yeah. No, I think you already heard it a few times, but that's okay. All right, we'll look at our weekly scores. But before we do that, we also have an announcement to share about next season. Sertop, maybe you want to go first.
Certainly. So this is a little bit difficult to talk about, but as you know, we have been doing this podcast for almost like 3 years, and we talk with Bas, and we feel like it is like time to maybe end things, like not maybe completely, but certainly taking some um, break from the podcasting next season. So yeah, so next season we won't be coming back, and I don't know if we will ever come back, the season after, but mainly like podcasting is taking a lot of time, like our personal time, and also like we need to we do have everything ourselves. We collect data, we present it, we post process it, upload it. Like it's only two of us, and it takes quite a bit of time. And well, I have a 2 years old. Bas has two kids, so sometimes finding time uh, between family responsibilities is a challenge. And also, as you know, Bas goes to travel a lot. He goes to vacation like every other week. So recording by myself was becoming a challenge. No, I'm just kidding this part. Um, but when we started, we had the vision of like bringing analytics to mainstream, essentially, to make people familiar with the methodologies we are using, like how we are thinking about it. Can it actually help even like casual players?
Hmm.
And I feel like it is pretty nice that Bas is going to probably get his best finish ever this season because of the analytics to a degree. I feel like listening to me for over these years affected him enough that he's making like sensible choices. I see it, and it was quite a bit of a challenge to beat him in the head-to-head. So it's no surprise that he ended up winning it. I guess he had a good lead for a while. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I feel like we completed our mission of
Yeah.
making people getting familiar with analytics. And personally, I think there's a lot of great like content on FPL out there. Like
Mm.
I also find myself like listening, and so because of the law of diminishing returns, like our impact, like what we are introducing, like as a new concept or like something new, like as a visual, is getting like was getting diminished because we were kind of maybe repeating like almost the same methodologies. And there's nothing wrong with that, like as long as it's useful to people. But I feel like we have arrived to a point where people are very familiar with what we are using, and it is kind of replicable. People can do it themselves, and I always encourage people to go and try doing these kind of stuff themselves. And I also feel like analytics is much more mainstream now. Like it is in the discussion of like you find it in lots of FPL content out there. Like it's
Mm.
widely accepted, in my opinion. So even though our podcast is a little bit of a niche, like we are talking to the people who are interested in analytics, interested in learning the analytics angle for FPL, I think it is more accessible right now, and we feel like it is a good time to give a break at least. What do you think, Bas?
Yeah, I agree. You said it very well.
Hmm.
So thank you for that. And no, I mean it's a bit bittersweet, I would say. Of course, on the one hand, yeah, maybe sad to stop, but on the other hand, I think we're both quite looking forward to having a bit more free time every week again, or maybe to use that time for other activities or other projects. Recording this podcast has been great, and I'm sure I'm going to miss it at some moments as well. But as Sertalp said, we did it for 3 seasons, which I think was much longer than we initially could have imagined. Yeah, as I said, sometimes I think it's good to close a project and start something else. And I'm just very grateful for the opportunity we had here, and very grateful for all you listening to us every week. We really enjoyed this journey with you. Um, but yeah, it's not over yet. At least we have two more episodes to go, including this one. And maybe we'll miss it so much that we'll decide to record a surprise episode next season. You never know. Uh, we'll keep the options open. Okay, that's that for the announcement. And I propose that we switch to our regular content.
Sure.
And as usual, we start with the game week review.
Oh, it's the game week review again. Are we going to
Yes,
talk
once
about
more. You
Europe?
didn't do it yet.
um, so
Or
I
maybe
finished
you
this.
did it, but I didn't.
Yeah. I finished the game week with 51 points. It's 4 points below the safety score taken from the FPL game week. Um, well, I got a red arrow, so that's Bas. So that there's no winner here. He's less of a
Yeah.
loser than I am, but we lost rank, both of us.
Yep.
Um, I feel like I got a little bit unlucky. I mean, I had the double Nottingham Forest defense, and like if they maybe didn't concede the second goal, I was going to get the same points as Bas, and maybe.
Mm,
So I feel like it was very close to the end, and like I was
yes.
feeling pretty good actually, and then suddenly I saw that Bas is ahead. But in my team, I think Eze made a huge difference with 16
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
Captaincy, I think it went okay. It wasn't that bad. I had Mbomo as my captain, and Bas
Yeah.
had Isaac. Um, so well, despite the relatively good-looking team and the good-looking results for like some players, well, the field did better, and
Yeah.
we were mainly missing some of the key players. So not much to say. I'm at 145k now. I feel
Mhm.
like getting into top 100k is quite challenging. Well, it will. Well, we will see how this game week goes. I have the free hit for last game week,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes. Like whenever I use a chip, I get a red arrow. So like I wouldn't be surprised
Mm.
if I finish outside of 200k. But yeah, I'm just fingers crossed. Like I'm hoping to stay at least around here. How
Yeah.
how was your game week, Bas? What did you?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange game week. I was quite worried when it started because I didn't have Wissa, who was a popular transfer last week. And I also didn't have any Nottingham defense. We kind of joked about it last week, saying that I was hoping that, was it Leicester, to score a goal?
Mm-hmm.
And
Got this too.
didn't really expect that that would happen, but then they scored twice, so that was really good for me because a lot of other people had Nottingham defenders. I didn't. And then I ended with 53 points, which when I was looking at some mini leagues and also at our head-to-head score, I thought I did quite well. But then in the end, I did actually drop a bit in OR, so yeah, clearly it wasn't good enough. I think it was a good week, though, to be reminded that you don't always need to make transfers. I think some of the targets, the popular targets last week, which everyone was talking about, like Wissa and KDB, they blanked, while some other players who people were selling, I think, for example, Rogers or Sar, actually they returned. So, yeah, in hindsight, I think doing nothing could have been the best option, because it also would have saved me a transfer. I did sell Mateta to Cunha, which maybe is a bit of a strange move, but I just had a good feeling about Cunha and I just quite like to own him. He didn't do much last game week. Well, he did nothing with 0 points, even even worse. So, well, let's see what he will do in the other game weeks. But yeah, because I brought Cunha in, I actually benched Rogers. So that cost me 6 points. So just to make that point again, that it would have been better to do nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I'll also keep that in mind for the next game week. It could be quite good to save a transfer and then have two available for game week 38.
Mhm.
But the most important thing, I beat you by 2 points. So that seals the victory once again, I must say. So you can send the cup to Belgium, Sertalp.
Okay.
All
Will
right.
do.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward. I wanted to say so. I mean to say that we just covered the game week review, and we can now look forward to the next game week. And well, in fact, there isn't that much to look forward to anymore in a way because there's just game weeks left. But regardless, let's quickly check how the fixture ticker is looking.
Sure. We have Arsenal at the top of the fixture ticker. They are playing against Newcastle this week, but they have the Southampton fixture at the end of the season, so
Yeah,
that's very favorable. We
yeah.
have Liverpool in the second place. Brighton this game week. It's not the best, but they have Crystal Palace in game week 38, so it brings the average up. We have Manchester City at the third place, Bournemouth and Fulham games, like marked relatively okay. We have Chelsea in the fourth place, playing against Manchester United. We will see in the like odds table that Rob T
Mhm.
shares. But yeah, they are projected to score goals. So it is interesting that Bas is actually wearing a Manchester United jersey. They are a big underdog this game.
Yes.
Maybe wanted to support them in this difficult game
No,
week.
I bought the shirt this season. I just never have an opportunity to wear it because they're
Oh,
being
okay.
so bad. So I was thinking today I'll just wear it and
Okay.
yeah, just for fun.
Okay. In the fifth place we have Aston Villa, Tottenham this game week, and then Manchester United in the last game week of the season. Uh, we have Bournemouth in the sixth place, but they are playing against Manchester City, and it's actually,
Mhm.
well, obviously defensively a very unfavorable fixture. Only 2.4 is the point average, but they are finishing the season with Leicester. So I think I mentioned this before, but people like me who have their free hits, I think Game Week 38 will be interesting because you can basically get triple Bournemouth. They also enable quite well.
Yeah,
Well, so the only problem is this Leicester, right? So like we mentioned last week, I'm kind of like scared of bringing Bournemouth defenders just to see Leicester scoring
yeah,
goals again.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a favorable fixture in the data at least. And then in order we have Newcastle in the seventh place, Everton eighth, Brentford ninth, and West Ham in the 10th place in the fixture ticker. Any comments from you, Bas?
Well, yeah. Well, Arsenal number one. I'm a bit surprised that the defensive odds or the defensive points are quite high versus Newcastle. Of course, it's a home game for Arsenal, but we know, of course, that Newcastle is super attacking and also, well, they score goals every week. So I have Raya and Saliba, but I'm not too confident in playing both of them. So I'm not sure if that fixture is really that favorable. I think Newcastle is also still in the race for the Champions League spots. So I think they will go to London and they will give Arsenal a really tough game. So yeah, that one is on Arsenal. The second spot is for Liverpool, and we've been seeing some pictures on X these days of Liverpool players already in Ibiza and on the beach, and I think even in Dubai celebrating. So they are literally on the beach, and that makes me wonder a bit. Like we're all still invested in Salah, but yeah, especially for us above 100K, maybe there is an opportunity to move away and yeah, go for some other options. Maybe KDB with his final two games for City. Maybe Palmer, who is maybe finding a bit of form back, and Chelsea also still fighting for the top spots. So Yeah, that's been on my mind actually today when I saw those pictures from the Liverpool players. So if I do make a transfer, that could be it. But
Okay.
for the rest of the chart, yeah, I think Villa, they have a really nice two games coming up against Spurs and United, and it's quite crazy to say because in other seasons these are top teams. But yeah, as we know, this season Spurs and United are just above the relegation zone. They're playing a European final, so they will fully focus on that. So I think for Villa, it's actually a great moment to play them, and I think that's also why a lot of people are looking at Watkins this week. I'm a bit unfortunate that I already have three Villa players, but I will certainly play them. For the rest of us, yeah, do keep an eye, of course, on Gaming 38 as well, as Sertalp said, especially the Bournemouth fixture. We mentioned that last week at home against Leicester. Could be really interesting, for example, to bring Evan Nielsen in or maybe one of the midfielders. Um, okay, so that covers the teams. Let's look at the individual players we should be targeting.
Before that, as I
Oh,
mentioned,
yes.
I will go
Oh,
over the Rapti's graphic
very good.
very quickly. Um, just you mentioned, like it's interesting, but Tottenham and Manchester United are
Yeah.
the teams that we expect most goals to concede. Aston
Yeah.
Villa's goal rate is around 2.65 in betting markets, uh, giving Tottenham only a 7% chance of keeping a clean sheet. And
Mhm.
for Manchester United, they are expected to concede 2.45 goals from Chelsea, giving them only 9% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Another team to mention is Everton. We
Yeah.
mentioned their Southampton the fixture this game week is defensively favorable. Their clean sheet odds is at 46%. So I think these are the interesting data points here. But
Yeah.
just to name the top three in terms of goals: Aston Villa against Tottenham 2.65, Chelsea against Manchester United 2.45, and the third one is Manchester City against Bournemouth with 2.2 projected goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of clean sheet, actually, it's the same teams we mentioned. Everton has the
Mm.
highest clean sheet probability, 46%. Then comes Chelsea at
Mhm.
40% against Manchester United, and Aston Villa has 32%. Same with Manchester City, who are playing against Bournemouth. So
Yeah.
these are the important bits, I think. But anything you want to mention here?
No, I think you covered it all. Thanks.
Okay. Um, then we can switch to the players.
Yeah.
Again, we will talk about top players in terms of projected points and also in terms of value, which is projected points divided to the price. Uh, Starting with the goalkeepers, we have Raya as the top goalkeeper for the last two game weeks. Uh, Most of his points are coming from game week 38 with
Yeah.
against Southampton with 4.4. Um, and in total, his projected points is around 8.1 if we take the average of all the commercial models we follow. Ellison is in the second place with 7.6 projected points. Pickford at the third place with 7.4, and Flacken at the fourth place with 7.4.
Mhm.
Same. This game week, though, Pickford is the highest with 4.3, and then Raya is the highest in game week 38,
Mhm.
both against Southampton. In terms of value, Flacken is actually at the top of the chart with 7.4 projected points, but he's only 4.5 million. We have Areola in the second place with 6.8 projected points.
Mhm.
Sanchez at the third place with 7.2, and finally Kepa at the fourth place with 7.3. So, well,
Yeah.
unless you are on wildcard, which is probably you might be the only person who is on wildcard. Most people won't do any goalkeeper transfers, I assume.
No.
But just wanted to mention,
Yeah.
as usual.
Yeah. Cool. No, as I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little
Mm-hmm.
bit surprised about the good clean sheet odds for Raya.
Mm-hmm.
I have Raya and Martinez, and Villa have been doing really well defensively recently. So yeah, it will be a tough choice, I think. I might go for Martinez, but
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doubting looking at these odds again. Looks quite favorable for Mariah. But yeah, that's where the data confuses me sometimes. I need to keep
Yeah,
relying on my instincts, I think.
you should. You should. Like you said, Leicester is gonna score a goal, and they scored. So,
Yes. Thank you
uh,
still, Lester.
sure, sure. Let's
All
talk
right.
about the defenders.
Yes.
We have Saliba at the top of the chart with 8.2 projected points for the last two game weeks, and
Yeah.
Kivior at the second place with 7.2, Guardiol at the third place with 7.1, and Virgil at the fourth place with 6.9 projected points.
Mm-hmm.
For Liverpool players, again in this case Virgil, you will see if you are watching on YouTube, you will see that there's quite a bit of a spread in terms of his projected points.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly because of the rotation risk now that they have won the league.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, they are partying.
They're on the
So we
beach.
might see some benching. So I think some
Yeah.
models disagree about how much minutes he's going to get. Um, and in terms of value, though, we have one Bissaka at the top of the chart with 6.6 projected points, but he's on the 4.4 million and have good, like relatively nice fixtures both against Nottingham Forest, only 3.2, but then comes the Ipswich game at the end of the season. For the price, it's pretty good. And we have Kivior at the second place, again 7.2 projected points. Newcastle and Southampton games are remaining. We have Colville at the third place with 6.5, and then we have Hussein at 6.5 projected points for the last two game weeks. But just to mention, his projected point is mainly coming from game week 38, where he gets
Yeah.
4.4 against Leicester, but this game week is only 2.1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, nothing to comment. I mean, one
Mhm.
Bisaka is interesting. He's quite a bonus points magnet as well. I think it was pointed out today by some people on X. And as you said, two quite interesting fixtures against Nottingham, who are a bit struggling now in these last weeks, and then Ipswich. But yeah, I guess like we mentioned last time, which still two game weeks left, probably the priority is not a defensive transfer. But still, you never know. If your
Sure.
defense looks really bad or if you have some injuries, then of course you should consider it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the midfielders.
Sure. We have Salah at the top of the chart with 12.9 projected points.
Yeah.
Well, despite other Liverpool players, I think there's an expectancy that Salah will play because of the records he's chasing, obviously. So
Yeah.
his minutes are high in most of the models.
Yeah.
And he's projected to get 6 points this game week and then 6.9 in game week 38 against Crystal Palace, looking pretty good. We have Saka in the second place with 12.1 projected points. And then we have Palmer at the third place with 11.4. And finally, Mbemo at 10.5 projected points for the last two game weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of value, again, we have Enzo, and he is finally at the top of the chart with 7.6 projected points. But again, he's very cheap, 4.7 million. We have Shada at the second place with 8.3 projected points for the last two game weeks. We have Semenyo at the third place with 8.6. Again, regarding Bournemouth, most of their points are coming in game week 38, so 5.3 of that 8.6 is actually in game week 38. And finally, we have Rogers at the fourth place with
Yeah.
8.4 projected points. Anything you want
Yeah.
to comment here?
Well, I did mention Salah, and I was just looking at his points. So his last double-digit return was actually in game week 28 at home to Southampton when they won 3-1. He had 15 points. But after that, he had 3, 2, 6, 3, 8, 2, 2. So yeah,
Time
quite
for you
some
to
clear
sell.
increase.
Time for you to sell, boss. I
Yeah.
encourage you to do it. Give me a fighting chance.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I will. Why not? Have some fun. Be different. Yeah. That could give me maybe I would go for Palmer then actually, which is a surprise. But you
Yeah,
still
this
have
game week
Palmer, right?
actually. Yeah.
But Palmer or Saka, Saka for the final game week could be interesting too. But yeah, I don't know. I'll see if we see more pictures from Liverpool on the beach tomorrow. It might convince me, or even better, Liverpool at a nightclub, quite drunk. So yeah, we'll see, we'll see. And the budget ones, yeah, there is Enzo. I see also quite some people talking about Neto for Chelsea. Schade, yeah, I regret that I didn't go for him last game week.
Hmm.
Actually, in German, Schade means regretting. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's Schade that I didn't go for Schade. You would say in German. uh, and yeah, that was because I was thinking about Wissa, or the other option would be Schade, and Schade scored got the points, so that was good. And I'm quite happy still to have Rogers in my team. I might even captain him, so that's another
Oh,
potentially
go for
risky
it.
move. But, yeah, why not at home against Tottenham? I think Villa will go for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was actually getting Rogers from the solver for this game
Ah,
week's
okay.
transfer, but since you
Yeah.
have him, I was like, I really don't know if I wanna
Yeah.
match the players because it will be
Yeah.
challenging for me to pass you
Yeah.
then. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. That's the stupid thing I did last week. I went for Cunha, but as I said, there's one mini league I want to win, and I didn't really look at my opponent. So I went for Cunha, and I did the transfer, thinking that would be a differentiator. But then I checked his team, and he already had Cunha. So I was like, oh man,
Hmm.
why did I go for Cunha? I should have done something else. So that's probably a reminder. Like if you do still fight against some mini league rivals, maybe check also their teams, and if you want to see where you can make up some ground. In the end, actually, I did I had a better score than my mini league rival, so I'm now number one in that
Oh,
mini
okay.
league. Yes, but it's
Well,
a
fine, I
very
guess.
small difference, and it will be interesting to see if I can keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the attackers.
Attackers. We have Holland at the top of the chart with 10.3 projected points, and we have, well, I should mention that for Game Week 37, there's again quite a bit of spread for him too. I think one model here is assuming that he won't have that many minutes, but yeah, I also expect him to start this week, so it makes sense to have him. And we have Watkins at the second place with 10.1 projected points, and most of his points are coming from this game week, actually 5.6 against Tottenham, but also last game week is not that bad, 4.4. We have Isaac in the third place with 9.8 projected points. And finally, Evan Nilsson at 9.4. And his majority of his points are coming from the Leicester game in Game Week 38. And if we look at the value, actually, Evan Nilsson is at the top with, again, 9.4 projected points.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 5.8 million, so pretty good value. Again, if you are thinking, I think Game Week 38 will be better. Raul at the second place with 8.2 projected points. And we have Vardy at the third
Yeah.
place with 8.1. The funny thing is, like, actually, the algorithm thinks I should get Rogers, but if I want to check the other options, I also see Vardy among the
Yes.
suggested moves.
Yes.
So Ipswich game is actually a little bit interesting, to be
Yeah.
honest. And since I have the free hit, so like it's just a one game week,
Uh,
I don't have too much to lose. But
no.
yeah, I don't know. I am not sure what I will do. Um, and then we have Strand Larsen at the last place, the fourth place with 7.6 projected points for the last two game weeks. Any comments on these
Yeah.
players?
Well, starting with Haaland, he of course started last game, which was maybe a little bit of a surprise. I think most people didn't expect that. Marmoush on the bench, so I think that's already an issue for many people, including myself,
Mm-hmm.
who still have Marmoush. I think the question is, what will City do this game week? Because first they play the FA Cup final on Saturday, not to forget. It's City against Palace. And then FPL wise, they play on Tuesday. So yeah, the question, of course, is like who will play on Saturday, who will play on Tuesday. What does it mean for Haaland? What does it mean for Mamouche? I'm not too sure. And next to that, I'm not sure if I anyway want to keep my City players because Mamouche didn't do much in previous game weeks, and also Haaland hasn't been having a great season, right? So that could be one option for me, maybe to move Mamouche out. If I wouldn't have had three Villa players, I would definitely go for Watkins. But well, I do have already three Villa players, so for me that's not an option. Isaac I will definitely keep, especially for that final game at home against Everton. And I do like Evan Nielsen as well, as we mentioned, not for this game week, but for the next one at home to Leicester. The other thing, you mentioned Vardy. I also was thinking about it. You know, the final home game for Leicester in Premier League because they will relegate. Also, the final game for Vardy at Leicester. I think he's going for a 200 goals record. He
Mm-hmm.
just needs to score one more. So you know, people are expecting that the whole team will be trying to help him. So definitely an interesting option to go for Vardy as a 1 week punt.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would agree. Yeah. And the other thing to say, because I mentioned Neto before, he's of course not an attacker, but the reason I think why people are thinking about it is because Jackson is suspended.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, Neto then sometimes took the number 9 spot. So that could be interesting. So he's not on the chart, but this could be another thing you could consider. All right. We looked at all the players. So what? Oh, sorry. You want to say something?
One more thing
Oh,
on
yes.
the players.
We have one more chart.
One more
Yes.
chart.
And a
Uh,
very interesting one.
yes.
Similar from last week. Let's take a look.
Yes. Again, this chart shows the projected points versus risk variance, and
Yeah.
we measure the variance based on the ownership of the players and also
Yeah.
their projected points. So, like, if
Yeah.
there's a bigger swing or like the variance in the players' own point distribution, they should be higher. So we have actually, like, if you are looking for like players who can make a difference that not many people own, based on 100k ownership right now,
Yeah.
Saka and Holland are quite, like, they're not owned heavily and their
No.
ownership is quite low and their projected points are pretty high. So those two might be interesting. We also have Palmer in that region. I mean, Palmer's ownership is almost like zero, like it's very low in top 100k. We have
Yeah.
also Evan Nielsen in that region, and Watkins is slightly more owned, but still might be a nice and interesting differential around that region.
Yeah.
If you are kind of trying to protect rank, Salah and Mubemo are heavily owned, so they are the players that you might consider having if you don't have them, like as a kind of like an insurance. Um, we also have Isaac around that region, but a little bit far from Salah and Mubemo, not at the same level. Um, yeah, I mean these are basically the players that
Yeah.
might be interesting to look at.
Yeah, it's good. And some names we mentioned already, right? And also
Mm-hmm.
some premium options, Saka, Haaland, Palmer, also Watkins. So quite interesting as also differential. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to look at next? Does it make sense to look at an optimal team, or did you maybe prepare a free hit team?
I
I'll leave it to
generated
you.
a wildcard team. I will talk
Okay.
about free hit and Game Week 38 separately, probably, because
Okay.
yeah, I will be on one. Um, Well, 2 game weeks not that important, I guess. But optimal wildcard team is composed of Sanchez in the goal, Kukureya, Brandtwaite, and
Hmm.
Mikalenko.
Yeah.
In defense, Saka, Mubemo, Palmer, Salah, Asensio in midfield, and Watkins and Joe Pedro in forward using FPL release projections. And on the
Wow.
bench, we have Raya, Evan Nilsson, Livramento, and Hussein. Um, yeah, and the only transfer for Game Week 38 is then Palmer to Kluivert, and
Okay.
then Saka is the captain in the team.
Okay.
And yeah, so you are also replacing the goalkeeper. So Raya becomes the goalkeeper against Southampton, Livramento, Howson in defense, and Evan Nilsson plays against Leicester in this last game week. So yeah, so this is the
Yeah.
optimal wildcard team right now.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Palmer captain against United, so could be another reason to go for Palmer as a transfer.
Mm.
And interesting that the solver goes for João Pedro against Liverpool.
Yeah, his
Probably
like
also there,
these. Hmm.
not so much trust in Liverpool.
Yeah, especially in FPL reviews projections, I feel like Liverpool's projected points like generally a little bit lower because of the again
Okay.
on the beach. I think
Yes.
logic is pretty heavy on FPL
All
review
right.
compared to other
Okay.
models we
Yeah.
noticed. So it might be it. And also like if you look at the again the chart from Rapti, you will see that well Liverpool is projected to score 1.7 to 5,
Yeah.
but Brighton at 1.7.
Also.
So
Yeah.
like it looks like a 50-50 game there. I mean the clean
Yeah.
sheet
Yeah.
also are also pretty low, 18% and
Yeah.
17%.
Yeah.
So I guess the
Okay.
models or maybe like markets especially, but also the projection models, I guess
Yeah.
they're expecting a closer game. And if
Yeah.
Brighton is going to score, like if you know that Brighton is going to score, then I guess Joe Pedro becomes a
Yeah.
good option.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Perfect. Yeah, and I think
Hmm.
Asensio is also an interesting option from Villa.
Yes.
We mentioned Villa before, of course. Rogers is popular. Watkins is, and Asensio. Well, we've seen him already score quite some goals this season. Another option you could consider.
Yeah.
Okay, then I think we move to captaincy. Yes, I am right.
Captaincy, yes. No more charts. No more extra charts. Captaincy is in favor of Palmer with 6.7 projected points
Wow.
against Manchester United at home.
Yeah.
And 4 out of 5 models are actually also favoring him as a top option.
Okay.
Only model that has someone else is actually Fantasy Football Hub. They have Saka as the top option.
Oh wow.
As the second highest, we have Salah at 6 points. So
Hmm.
0.7 difference is enough to make me think that Palmer is a better option this game week
Okay.
between the two.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have Watkins at the third place with 5.6 against Tottenham. Saka at the fourth place, 5.58. Miboma at the fifth with 5.57. Then comes Holland at 5.28. And KDB at 4.98 projected
Hmm.
points. What are you thinking about the
Yeah.
captaincy?
Well, I did say Rogers has a bit of a wild choice, but I don't see him in this chart at all, so that's a bit disappointing.
No, you should trust yourself. You should trust
Yeah,
yourself.
indeed. Why not? Trust my gut. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me that might be an option. Or if I do go for Palmer, I don't think I'll captain him. No. But this chart that makes me doubt again because like Salah is number two, so still quite some reliance on Salah. But of course, we have seen that in previous game weeks, right? I think the projections for Salah are always quite high, just because it's Salah. But
Mm-hmm.
well, just based on the points from previous weeks, and again the fact that they are partying everywhere around the globe, it could be a reason maybe to move him. Yeah. Okay. Great. Do you
Yeah.
also already have the game week 38 one or not yet?
I haven't prepared Gaming 38.
We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So I think then we'll just wrap it up with the mini league.
One more chat. No, I'm kidding. Don't. No.
Oh, okay. You got me worried. All right. Well, mini league is actually really exciting. It's getting very tight because we have four managers battling for the first spot, with just 12 points between them. Abhinav C is still holding on to his first spot. He had a decent game week with 66 points and is on 2,581 points in total. The number two now is Thomas Danes, and he had a great week with 84 points. And that means he's only 4 points behind Abhinav. So Abhinav, who is here on number one for a very long time, he's actually being threatened now by Thomas. And it's not just Thomas. because there's only a 6 points gap to number three, and that's a new name. Welcome to the top three. It's Alvin Wee. And yeah, talking about peaking at the right moment, Alvin is sneaking into our top three with only two more game weeks to go. So maybe he will challenge even Abhinav for the number one spot. And we also shouldn't forget Carl Weeks, who was in the top three before, and is still very close to it on the fourth spot, only 2 points behind number three, Alvin. So let's see how this will develop. Very exciting. Good luck, all of you. And that's it for today. We covered a lot. Of course, as always, we hope that this will help you with your decision making. And as I said, remember, sometimes it's best to do nothing. It's not needed to make a transfer. I'll need to keep reminding myself, especially also towards game week 38. It could be quite good to have two free transfers available. We'll be back to preview the final game week 38 next week. You can subscribe to our podcast so you'll get notified when the next episode is out, and also for next season. If we do any surprise episodes, make sure you stay subscribed. And you can of course also keep following us on X or on Blue Sky. For Sertalp on X, it's at Sertalp Bilal. For me, it's at Belfi BB. And also, of course, you can keep using fploptimize.com because there is a lot of data and analysis to be found on there.
And before I close the episode, we always appreciated getting feedback from you. Well, obviously, we are going to a break. But still, like, if there's anything you wanted to let us know, please feel free to leave reviews or send us messages. We always enjoy reading them. And until next time, stay curious and stay analytical. Goodbye.